Today I fucked up mistake at 30,000 feet, innocent people suffered. I recently took a short vacation to a lesser developed country. On my last night I decided to sample some of the more exotic local fare and had a mixed raw seafood dish which was quite good. Lots of tentacles and whatnot. All was fine until the flight home the next day when I started feeling a lot of pressure in my abdomen. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to shart, so I leaned over a bit and let out a bit of gas, smooth as silk. I was giving myself a mental high five when I realized that what was supposed to have been a sly poot turned out to be a cataclysmic stench bomb that instantly engulfed several rows fore and aft. Little babies started crying immediately. Adults let out short barks that registered somewhere between shock and despair. In a display of primal instinct, a couple of teens sitting across the aisle reflexively pulled their t-shirt collars up over their mouth and nose. The old lady sitting next to me had her head wedged between the seat and the window with her eyes squeezed shut and her mouth in a perfect O opening and closing, like she was blowing smoke rings. I took a glance over the top of the seats and saw a forest of arms with hands frantically manipulating the airflow nozzles. I think a few people were clawing at the drop-down oxygen mask panels, but I don't know. A flight attendant up front noticed the commotion and bustled down the aisle, but upon entering the contaminated zone, instantly spun on her heel and beat a hasty retreat. I was still feeling bloated and thought with all the tumult I could probably get away with releasing another round. I mean, once you've painted a wall no one is going to notice if you add another coat. I looked at the old lady next to me and she was still doing the fish face thing, so I let go with another silent volley of poison gas. If that old lady by the window hadn't been wearing long pants she probably would have felt the rush of heat on her leg, but she didn't budge. There was no way I was going to fess up and apologize, so instead I just scowled and pretended to look around for the culprit. Fortunately things cleared out pretty fast. I didn't dare try it again. I had taken my fellow passengers by surprise the first time, but now they were wary and fully alert. For the rest of the flight, anyone that made their way back to the lavatory was subjected to the scrutiny of 100 eyes. We landed and I deplaned without further incident. However, I did totally trash a toilet in customs, but that's another story. Too long did not read. Don't eat food you are unaccustomed to before getting onto a long flight. The adjusting the air nozzles made me laugh. I was on a King Air with an anonymous governor, his wife, press secretary, aide, agent and 2 pilots. I was the governor's photographer. Someone on the plane had something that disagreed with them and lit us up for the hour-and-a-half flight home. The pilots kept quietly spraying Febreze into the recirculating air ducts to try and nullify the offense. So our AC was a constant airstream of cool yet deadly fart mixed with an overly sickeningly sweet cleaning product. When we landed one of the pilots pulled me aside and said, "Which one of you assholes kept dropping ass in the plane?" I suspect it was the aide as he was into some interesting foods to say the least. You should have made eye contact to show total dominance. Ha ha ha, this was so well written that I doubted it happened. For the record I do believe you, but kudos. You truly paint a picture with your words. Artist, indeed. Yeah, this got me so good I was cracking up with each sentence. Farts are universal comedy that never get old. Once you've painted a wall no one is going to notice if you add another coat. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy, skull and crossbones, skull and crossbones, skull and crossbones, skull and crossbones. Flying back home from Vegas, my bowels were not in good shape. 3 days of beer, lack of sleep, etc. I let one go that must have gone directly into the nose of the guy next to me. He was literally shaking. This isn't an foo, this is fucking legendary. Today I fucked up by waterboarding myself at the gym, and that's not the worst part. Obligatory not today, and I hadn't been back to the gym in a few weeks. I was feeling dizzy before a workout as I was a bit dehydrated. This is important for later. I usually bring some liquid but forgot to that day. Usually I go to McDonald's and grab a large unsweet iced tea for the gym. Better than coffee, and it wakes me up for the workout, and it's only $1. Screw up number 1. Oh well, in my slight lightheadedness I think I'll just have some water at the fountain in the middle of the workout. Screw up number 2. After an hour on the treadmill my throat starts to stick a little. I had my mask on and was doing a slow jog, 7 miles per hour. Just enough for me to breathe through the mask just fine and didn't have to remove it once in the hour I spent on the machine. I hop off the treadmill and the first feeling I get is the rush of blood running away from my brain. It only lasted a second, but anyone getting up too fast from sitting, squatting a long time will know the feeling. It's also the same feeling as the dizziness of being drunk. That was a good time for that drink, but because of COVID, the fountains were turned off and you're supposed to bring your own water. Oops. Okay. Whatever, I'll power through this, there's only the lightweights I was going to do today anyways, it'll be fine. Screw up number 3. Yup. I go through with my hour of lightweights and at the end my shirt was very sweaty and I'm feeling very dizzy, lightheaded at the end, but it passes. Anyone who's had that feeling would know it's actually a little euphoric, and a great end is the shower. This is where I should point out that I'm in terrible COVID condition. My belly is huge and my mother pointed out that I looked pregnant when I went to open the fridge door without my shirt on. This is also important. In my dehydration, I'm not drunk dizzy but impaired enough to forget to take off my shirt and mask as I take my towel with me to the shower. There's no one else taking a shower as it was a pretty early workout, so I head to my usual stall by habit, which is close to the entrance. I turn on the shower and let the water hit my chest. The feeling is amazing. This is where everything goes wrong. I'm still in my sweaty shirt and decide I should take it off, with my mask still on. The shirt sticks to my skin and rotund belly, making it very hard to remove. Now both my arms are up and the shirt is stuck to my face and mask, with the water now filtering through the shirt and mask, blocking my nostrils. This is where I find out how horrible waterboarding is. The wet mask and shirt make it instantly extremely hard to breathe as the nostrils are blocked. Instinct says to use the mouth, which is similarly blocked, and I start to hyperventilate, which sends water into the lungs and causes me to cough and panic. I take a few steps back with my arms still up and spin around to get away from the water. 2 very strong arms lift up my shirt and my mask with it, whereupon I'm confronted with 2 ebony pecs. Even The Rock would be envious. Just below these godly pecs are the abs of Hercules that puts my pear-shaped physique to shame. That's when the water decides to leave the lungs and I start hacking. Connected to this torso of discipline and genes of envy, I'm hacking spittle onto the biggest penis I've ever seen this side of porn. The glorious foot-long inches from my face where previously only a Subway sandwich has been. The manliest of hands pat my back like I'm a baby being burped. Through tears and embarrassment we both realize there's a third person that just walked in. Me bent over coughing and the heat from his giant schlong caressing my face. Said person turns on his heels and nopes out. I utter some thanks to my savior and we both decide it's best not to talk about it and finish our showers. Mine was the shortest shower I'd ever had and rushed to dress and possibly find previous third person to hopefully explain, but he was gone by then. On my way out, my Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, whose Johnson I was inches away from, is done with his shower. He has a look of don't say anything, but I spend a few minutes with him thanking him as he's getting dried and dressed. He seems cool with it, I think, but I haven't been back in weeks. And #X200B. Too long did not read. Very dehydrated before a 2-hour workout leads to me waterboarding myself and a third gym member walking in on my savior and I looking like I'd just sucked him off and choked on this cum. And #X200B. Edit. There's been a lot going on about 7 miles per hour on the treadmill. That is a light jog. The treadmill is doing half the work as the ground is moving. Think of it as walking up an escalator versus doing the same up the stairs. For sprints I would push the treadmill up to 14 miles per hour and I can only sustain that for about 10–15 seconds, 30 if I'm feeling really good, then I'm burnt for 1.5–3 minutes. That was my HIIT routine before COVID. Also, thanks for the awards for my encounter with the Nubian lance that pounds all the pants. The glorious foot-long inches from my face where previously only a Subway sandwich has been. Best line in the story. I can't even. What is your life, man? Best today I fucked up I read in a long time. Yo, doesn't your gym sell bottled water? Our fountains are down but they have the water bottle filler on them now. But I never hit the gym without a big bottle of water. I suggest getting a refillable one. And never go anywhere without it. Man. I go work out at the gym for 30 minutes of swimming and this guy does 2 light hours of 7 miles per hour and free weights. I'm laughing so much at the description of this ebony god you have recently met. Tears of joy made my day. An almost porn story with a non-porn happy ending. I pictured you as Zach Galifianakis while reading this and laughed even harder. Anyway, glad you survived. Today I fucked up by making my cat a Tinder. Obligatory. This happened last night and to my friend who doesn't have Reddit, so letting her post on my account. Everything told from her point of view past this. To preface this, I'm a woman in a gay relationship and my girlfriend thought it would be funny to make a Tinder profile for my cat. They did this last week, and we have been getting messages from everyone. A lot of people have been good sports about it and are playing along, but there's also been a lot of horny men out there trying to flirt with me, the owner. This is where the foo happens. Last night, one man ended up asking us if the cat had a Snapchat. We didn't, but we thought it would be fun for future shenanigans, so we made one really quick and gave it to him. We talked for a bit, as the cat, and he sends us a video. I turned to my girlfriend and say, "Wouldn't this be awful if it was a dick pic?" He did us one better, unfortunately. We opened the video and what do you know, he sent us a Joe video. This man has never seen us or even knew that we were women. We quickly sent a vomiting emoji and blocked him. This is forever burned into our memory, and we are appalled at humanity for someone sending a Joe video to a cat. TLDR. Today I fucked up by making a Tinder for my cat, to which we received a video of a man jerking it. Edit. Pics of the kitty. Take comfort in the fact that your cat may not like the video but would be happy to play with any hanging balls. Maybe his cat will get a few bats in. Was about to ask what a Joe video was. Until you nailed it at the last moment. Sorry. But I serious don't know what these guys get out of this. Are you supposed to instantly want that ugly spouting dick? Is it a power move? Has there ever been a guy that got a random girl on social media excited sexually with a dick pic? I think some people have the kink to send this type of videos despite knowing that the other person doesn't want it. Like a power move or something. It is irritating and disgusting. Make sure to turn off location map on the cat's Snapchat. Sometimes people in relationships who want to cheat use animals or black screens on Tinder, but will reveal themselves once they get past that point. So this dude was definitely a creep. Did your cat enjoy the video though? I googled Joe video and I swear there is an artist called Joe and the channel name is Cat Music. And I was like, wait, that's not so bad. Then it occurred to me it was a guy jacking off. As if you didn't expect that on Tinder. Today I fucked up by trying to get frisky with my wife first thing in the morning. Okay. Anyone who's married knows sometimes, you want to have some fun in the morning, sometimes it's a serious, we need to have married couple time, sometimes it's, one or both of us is goofing off and it turns into something time, and sometimes it's just, goofing off time. This was kind of a combination of all three. Long story short, I was goofing off with my wife, but still wanting to have married time, this morning, and as she was getting ready to change before we went out, she bent over, I came up behind her, kissed the back of her neck and put my hands on her stomach, and she farted on me. Not a cutesy, oopsie kind of fart. I mean a full-on foghorn, bone-rattling fart, right on my erection. I was at full mast. Like I said in the beginning, all three, totally down for some married time, and she farted so hard on my erection I could feel the vibrations all through my body. We have talked about this all day and we're still cracking up about it. She told me I have her permission to tell this story so long as I put in that it was first thing in the morning, and she told me not to touch her stomach, but yeah. Today I fucked up by trying to have sexy time with my wife and she farted on my dick so hard it almost retracted into my body. And after 18 hours we're still laughing about this so hard. I love this woman lol. This is hands down one of the funniest sex stories I've ever experienced in my life. Too long did not read. This morning I tried to have sexy time with my wife, and she farted on my erection so hard my dick retracted back into my body. You gotta season the meat before it's ready to eat. That flatulated quickly. What's crazy is you'd be surprised how common this is. Almost a rite of passage. You should have pulled the blanket over her head and Dutch ovened her. You usually have to pay extra for that. So where's the fuck up? Bet it was a good feeling for her. The relief was probably as good as. Probably not, but the story is. Been married 30 years. This happens all the time with us.